Okay, what's going on, everybody? My name is Mangg, and today we're going to be playing some Total War. Total War Warhammer 3, and more specifically, the Immortal Empires mode. So, this is not a new game. It's a bit of a controversial game. I mean, the game itself is, of course, fantastic. It's more the developers, creative assemblies that have some really shitty practices, and it makes it tough to kind of support them. So I bought this game a while back, not that long ago, but a while back, and I bought all the DLC for Immortal Empires because everyone was hyping up how amazing this experience was. Blah blah blah, and I was like, all right, this sounds awesome. I'm going all in. But nowadays it really is kind of a little tough to recommend on the stance of just again being kind of a shitty company. But if you don't care about that too much, the game is fantastic. So I own all of the DLC for the Warhammer games. So it's 1, 2, and 3 because you can use all of it in Immortal Empires. I don't own the latest DLC, the really controversial one, just because even from a purely like unbiased, I don't give a fuck point of view, it just does not seem worth it to me. Anyways, so we'll do this as if you've never seen a Total War game or played it or anything like that. And I'm not an expert. This is my first Total War game, and I have not played a tremendous amount of it. But I've played this on my own. I've played this co-op with Lego on stream, but I have never done a video series for it. So I gotta put something on the channel solo. I did try early on to do some Immortal Empire stuff, but I was like really shitty at it, and I kept on like switching my faction every video, and it was just like we didn't get anywhere, so I didn't even upload it. But we're gonna give this an honest shot. So of course, Total War is sort of a grand, no, I don't. It's sort of a turn-based strategy / real-time strategy. There's sort of like civilization aspects to it, where you're vying for territory, you're getting control of settlements, you're building them up, you're building up armies, and then you can do battles. You can go into a battle that is real time. Generally, you can pause, you can slow it down, you can speed it up, but it's real time. And those are like big scale, like thousands of little individual units that you're corralling against in these big battles, and it's really awesome. So it's a very unique blend of gameplay, and it's been a very successful franchise, all the different Total War games, Warhammer or otherwise. But Warhammer interests me a lot because it's very over the top, it's very fantastical, there's all sorts of magical powers and creatures and just insanity. So there is a normal campaign that you can play. Well, there's a prologue sort of tutorial thing, the Lost God. That's the first thing I did when I played, and it was pretty cool. And that sort of leads into the realm of chaos, which is it's just sort of the standard campaign. It's kind of Immortal Empires light. There is multiple factions on a map vying for control, but there's an extra aspect of you needing to like go into the various realms of chaos, Nurgle, Tzeentch, Khorne, Slaanesh, and you need to get their like essences or souls or whatever it is, and you need to get all 4 of them so that you can do the final battle and win. And all the other factions are also trying to get in there and get the different souls as well. It's not a bad mode by any means. It's just so outclassed by Immortal Empires. And really, when you play Total War, you're probably playing Immortal Empires. So what this is a massive sandbox, huge map, hundreds of factions, all battling it out for control. And there's just so much flexibility and freedom, and everyone's got different, unique mechanics related to their faction and their lord, and there's different objectives for everybody, and it's incredible. So that's, of course, what we're playing. Now, like I said, I have all the DLC, pretty much. So we have access to a lot of different factions and a lot of different lords for those factions. So there's a total of 24 currently. They recently added Chaos Dwarfs in the previous DLC. So yeah, 24 factions. You can get a mod, the Unlocker mod. It's not currently, I should mention, we actually have no mods running. This is unmodded. Because the game is actually surprisingly pretty good without any mods. But you can get an Unlocker mod that will unlock every faction for you. It only adds one race. There's one race that normally you don't have access to, which is the Southern Forces or something like that. But really, it just unlocks a lot of the minor lords for you to play as if you want. But yeah, generally you have 24 factions, and when you pick a faction, you're going to have access to a few or more different legendary lords.
You summon me.
For that faction. And every army in the game is controlled or sort of led by a lord. So you can't really have a free-floating army. They have to be led by a lord, a special lord unit. So your legendary lord then is like your principal character. They are a lord. They lead their own army across the map, but they also have specific, unique mechanics that are only available to them.
In the name of Magnus.
So if we picked the Empire here, and we played as Karl Franz, which sounds like a German exchange student, he would provide specific, unique faction effects to your entire faction, your entire, group you're playing as. But then also he has specific stuff for his army and himself. So his faction effects would be he's more diplomatic, he's on better standing with the other Empire factions that are going to be in the game. He gets more prestige from battles. He recruits other lords at a higher rank, a higher level, and all of his armies get to move further across the map each turn. And then specifically for his army, he can replenish his army in neutral territory. He's got cheaper upkeep for Reichsguard and Greatsword units. He gets a passive ability for those same units, and all units in his army have a charge bonus. And, we'll get into what a lot of these things mean as we go on, but yeah, that's basically how it works. And then if you switched over to Balthazar Gelt, he's more a magic user, so he gets +2 hero capacity for battle wizards. He also gets battle wizard heroes for cheaper upkeep, and all armies that he controls, in your faction get +10 armor. So on and so forth. Obviously more related to just spellcasting and wizards and blah, blah, blah.
Elites.
Sometimes you'll get negative effects for a specific legendary lord. So if you picked Marcus Wolfheart, initially you can only recruit basic units. But you get reinforcements from the Empire to bring powerful units. So it's just switches up the gameplay a little bit from the standard kind of Karl Franz, whatever that the baseline. He also has really negative relations with all Lizardmen factions. But he's got much higher ambush success chance, defense chance, and he gets cheaper upkeep for archers and huntsmen, so he's, more ranged faction. So it just depends on, what you're interested in and what your playstyle is, and there's just, like I said, a lot of variety here. A lot of variety in faction mechanics, army mechanics, unit mechanics, so on and so forth. I generally don't have like a favorite. I've played most of these factions to some degree, some more than others, of course. But yeah, I wouldn't really pinpoint any as like, yep, I love that faction. I like to play them all the time. Generally, every time I play, it's just like, all right, surprise me. So we're going to use this faction picker, which is just going to randomly assign us a faction and a lord on this website. We're not beholden to it, of course, but so this gave us Nurgle with Kugath Plague Father, which is the only legendary lord by default. So, yeah, we certainly can play as Nurgle. And if you look over at the unit and spell browser, you can see all the units available to you throughout the game to recruit. Different lords you can recruit, different heroes, various types of infantry, so on and so forth. You can see they only get, they get one missile cavalry, they get a couple missile monsters and beasts. They only get 3 types of cavalry throughout the whole game. So it's not their forte. One type of shock cavalry, and it's a rank 4 unit. So you actually are not going to have cavalry for a while, which hampers the hammer and anvil tactics that are a good way to go. But instead, they do get a lot of monster units and big bestial units. These monster units come in lower numbers. So like if you grab Nurglings, one Nurgling unit comes with 60 individual Nurglings. Marauders of Nurgle comes with 120 of them. So, infantry and stuff like that come in big old packs. Whereas if you recruit, say, a Great Unclean One, that's one unit. It's one guy by himself. It's one monster. So obviously he's very capable, but you don't need. I think I have seen people play the game with like only heroes which is insane. But often you want to rely on large number of units in order to like flank and sort of encapsulate the enemy and encircle them and stuff like that. And it's hard to encircle the enemy with like single units like this. So yeah, like Rotflies come in a pack of 12, Pox Riders 24. It's a different play style. And it's not one that I'm sure I want to go with for like the first time I'm going to explain the game on camera and stuff like that. I feel like we want something a little bit more traditional in play style. So we'll just randomize it again.
Defender of Ulf 1.
Okay, we got High Elves with Teclis. Fanciful little...
There is no limit to my power.
Fancy little High Elves. Alright, so Teclis gets on good relations with men, High Elves, Wood Elves, Lizard Men, and Dwarves. So he's friends with everybody. And recruiting allied units costs a lot less, which is good. He gets +5 recruit rank for Lore Masters of Hoth, Mages, and Archmages. That's nice. Minus 25% recruitment cost for Swordmasters of Hoth and Phoenix units. And he gets Fireball automatically and a little extra magic. Alright. This is much more viable. So here you can see Teclis, the High Elves units, infantry, nice standard selection. Nothing insanely overpowered here. But Sword Masters of Hoth are pretty nice. Armored, armor piercing, anti-infantry, and deflect shots. It's a very nice frontline unit. We get a bunch of different cavalry, including a rank 2 shock cavalry with vanguard deployment and very fast. Or armored anti-infantry. That's probably even better. That's very nice. The 64 charge bonus. You can just smell the hammer coming down. They do, of course, get monsters. Pretty much every faction has some sort of monsters or beasts. So we get great eagles and war lions and phoenixes, dragons. We get fucking dragons. I mean, that's what more needs to be said. You bring down the star dragon on their ass. We do get one single artillery unit, the Eagle Claw Bolt Throwers, which is better than no artillery, I suppose. We get a bunch of archers, which is always good. And, yeah, should be pretty solid. We're going to go with Techless. Funnily enough, I think one of the factions that I recorded initially when I did my initial run through, one of the factions I played as was High Elves, and it might have been with Techless. I don't generally care for elves, but, you know, when you're talking about star dragons, it's like, okay, that sways it a little bit. Okay, let's get into it. I think, yeah, I'm almost certain it was Techless I played as. But I'm a lot better at the game nowadays. Okay, so every faction has unique mechanics. And when you start it up, they're going to give you a how they play little screen here. This is a pretty short list for how they play. It's kind of a simpler faction, mechanically. You're going to earn influence throughout your campaign to use for political events and to recruit lords and heroes. Okay. Manipulate other factions' diplomatic relationships by exerting your influence over them in court to steer world affairs. And establish outposts and allies' lands to garner further influence through espionage. Alright, yes, I remember really liking this faction, though, because of all the court stuff and the influence. It really makes it feel like a kind of conniving... It just adds a lot to the kind of the board game feel of it. So, yeah, we'll be able to... Like, if we want one faction to actually go to war with another faction, we can manipulate that. Normally, that would be very difficult to accomplish for most factions. But yeah, we basically want to be friends with everybody and then kind of instigate trouble amidst some of the factions to further our goals. Alright, so the whole map is expansive. Pretty much goes from like this corner over here to this corner, down here to this corner, and then, yeah, like over there somewhat. It is a massive map. You will not, like, traverse the entire map throughout your playthrough to accomplish your objectives. It's unnecessary. And if we go down here, we can see our objectives, our victory conditions. So there's a short campaign victory. And to do that, we need to destroy Sartorial's Watchers, Clan Morbidus, the Bubonic Swarm, and Oracles of Tzeentch. So this is the Bubonic Swarm down here. This is the Oracles of Tzeentch. This is Sartorial's Watchers, which is kind of where we start. So yeah, obviously we're going to wipe them out. And then Clan Morbidus is a Skaven faction, so they're not really going to be visible on the map right away. I'm pretty sure they're over here. And their settlements are just going to show up as like ruins because they kind of hide amidst the ruins. So you're not sure that they actually control it. And then we also have to occupy, loot, raise, or sack 30 different settlements. So occupy, loot, raise, or sack pretty much just means you have to attack a settlement and win the battle. And that's 30 different ones. So, that, you know, we got to expand out a little bit. And that'll give us the short victory. I don't know if that's what we're going to go for, or if we want to do the long one. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. The long campaign victory, you have to do, obviously, the short one. Then you have to occupy, loot, raise, or sack 70 different settlements, so 40 more. And then you have to control at least 6 of the following settlements, either by direct ownership or through vassals and military allies. So we own one. Obviously, we start with Fortress of Dawn. The others are going to be scattered out there. We don't even see any of these others, but I think a bunch of those are going to be controlled by other high elf factions. And that'll give us the long victory achieved. And then you can go all the way for the domination victory, which is the full win. And all you have to do for that is just occupy, loot, raise, or sack 272 different settlements, which is a big chunk of the map for sure. Alright, so that's that. So the first thing, pretty much every faction, you're going to start with a hero and your legendary lord. Heroes are unique units. They are individual units that are, you know, quite powerful as a unit in battle. And you can put them into an army in order to, you know, act as a unit in battle and provide like a passive benefit to the army, depending on the hero. But they can also act independently. They can't go into battle independently, of course, but they can do specific hero actions. So if I embed this into the army, he will provide constant XP to all the other units every turn. That's what training is. If he's in territory just on his own that I control, he's going to spread control, which makes it, you know, control is you know, a metric of like how under control your settlements are and your people. So he makes things a bit more stable, which is not bad. He can also then do specific actions to an enemy settlement. He can damage their walls, which is good if they're fortified. He can wound other enemy heroes, and he can also hinder the replenishment of an enemy army, making them less likely or slower to heal any like injured units. But generally, for the first hero, I always embed it.
They may have refuge.
Okay, so we have Teclis here, and we have Sartorial the Everwatcher right next to us, and they do this every time. Every faction, every time you play, there's going to be a hero with you, and then there's going to be an enemy army that pretty much you can always just win. It's a weak army that you're meant to just stomp on. So we're going to go do battle, and so we've got our legendary lord. He does act in battle. He's often, you know, your most powerful unit. We have our hero, Obermann. We have Sword Masters of Hoth, 2 Spearmen, Archers, Tyrannok Chariots, 1 Phoenix, and Eagle Claw Bolt Throwers. It's quite a varied army. Probably maybe slightly more varied than I'd like. And I always am not sure what to do with chariots, but anyway, so we're gonna go attack.
Battle is upon us. Study your options carefully.
Yeah. So most of the time we'll be playing, we're just going to use the auto resolve. So this skips the actual battle and just has an algorithm to decide who's going to win and how much they win by and how much, injuries happen and so on and so forth, casualties. The exact specifics of auto resolve are quite mystical. It's like YouTube's algorithm. Nobody really knows how it works. Some factions kind of suffer a bit more from the way that auto resolve works for their units and stuff like that. Skaven notoriously kind of gets screwed by auto resolve more than other factions. But generally it's pretty fair. And so most of the time we're going to be doing auto resolve just because it saves so much time, and it's just like, whatever. The only times that I ever really do battles is like if it says that I am going to lose, but I think that I could win. That's usually where it's like, all right, auto resolve's going to fuck me, then I'm going to try and do it myself. But I generally like to do the first battle here because it's fairly easy. You're almost guaranteed to win, and it gives me a good idea of some of how my units work and how my faction works. So we're going to fight this battle. So, obviously there's a number of different tactics that you can employ in battle, and that's part of what makes Total War really interesting, is that it's not just like a standard RTS and just, you throw units at other units and that's what happens, and, if you're really good, you're maybe micro some units in and out and blah, blah, blah. Here, it's much more like militaristic and tactical with how you're positioning and moving your units and flanking and all that kind of stuff. There's quite a bit to it. Terrain advantages and so on and so forth. And then there's just so many different types of units, all with different, pros and cons and so on and so forth. All right, so we have three...
Greatness in battle may only be reached.
Yeah. We have 3 frontline melee units. We've got the Swordmasters of Hoth, which are really good, and then a couple Spearmen. We have the Archers. And we also have a hill here. Now, I don't know if we can gain... I don't know if we can take the hill before they do. It's a little iffy. We also have the chariots, missile chariots, which are going to, they can fire while they're moving. They also have reaver bows that fire 3 arrows at once, and they're anti-infantry. So these things should actually shred pretty good. And then we have the bolt throwers. So, yeah, these are going to be your field artillery, so this isn't going to, like... I don't think it's an arced shot. I think it's literally just like a big crossbow bolt. Yeah. So we can't arc it over our units. It's got to be a straight shot, and it's good against large targets, of which there really isn't many to speak of. But we probably want them on multi-shots. So, we'll want to post up these, like, here. Just to keep, just bombarding targets. And then, we probably, do I want to spare a unit then to, like, watch over them? Or should I have the Phoenix watch over it? I guess probably we should throw a Spearman over here. And then I think the rest of us try and just take this, hill as best we can.
Teclis!
Servants of the tower!
Okay, let's try it.
Teclis! Forward! Asurian guides
Be
us.
sure to position your troops at...
Loyal!
There's the first artillery bombard. So he's got blue horrors of Tzeentch, which get shields, which is annoying.
Forward!
Swordmaster of Hoeth. Asa, move!
March!
Okay, we want to go after those screamers.
Pace! We will obey!
Shit.
Assyrian guides us! Spearman, quickly now! Without question! To battle! For all one!
Yeah, screamers sucked.
It will be done!
These things are just continuing to fire, though. That's all good.
Come under fire, Commander. Have them find cover or eliminate the source.
Okay, hold on. So, the battle is going. The battle's going somewhere. You get magic spells. Teclis is a wizard. This is his strong suit. So you have Fireball. Causes moderate magical and fire damage. Powerful explosion. Effective at long range. Strong versus multiple combatants. Does require line of sight to the target. And so you can just click that. And then click on an enemy. Probably the pink horrors there. And then he will use said ability. And we will see... I think he used it and it didn't... I think it hit something else. We also have... So that's his bound spell. So he can just use that for free multiple times per battle. But then you also have stuff based on the winds of magic. So you only get so much... It's sort of MP. You only get so much MP per battle. So he's got Flock of Doom. Cause damage to combatants. Strong versus 25 men unit or above. Strong versus multiple combatants. Weak versus single combatant. And Enfeebling Foe, which will lower an enemy's melee defense and melee attack. So we really want to be using this stuff. Probably just do that. Also, Obermann does have a spell, Shem's Burning Gaze. Strong versus a single combatant, large combatant armor. So we want to use this on a single big boy, which is probably the enemy lord.
Master of the White Tower!
Acknowledge! Forward! We advance!
Acknowledge!
I think we want to move these spearmen into support. So,
Your craven warriors run from...
actually, our archers got routed. I think I'm going to do worse than the auto-resolve. I think this didn't work as quite planned.
Tremble before me!
Your warriors begin to rally, sire.
Alright, so let me
They
explain.
will be able to rejoin the fight.
Your units are all going to have health, which is sort of like how many of the units are left in or how many individuals are left in the unit. So like our sword masters of Hoth have definitely lost some individuals. Well, that it's not directly tied to that because we started, I think, with 4 chariots. They're at half health and still have 4 chariots. But it is basically like they do have a hit point value. So this is just like a combined total. So you can, of course, lose a bunch of hit points without losing a specific individual. So they have health, but then they also have leadership or morale. So morale is affected by a lot of things, such as like other units losing all their morale, or your lord losing morale. Getting flanked hurts a lot. Taking a lot of damage all at once, hurts morale a lot. There's all sorts of different effects that affect morale. But once it hits 0, once it runs out, they will rout. And they will break their morale, and then they will flee from battle. You cannot control them. Most of the time, assuming the battle's still ongoing, they will rally, such as our archers have. So they will come back to the battle, and you can control them again. But it is kind of a blow, because once one unit routs, that hurts the morale of other units, unless your units are marked as expendable, which of course none of mine are. So yeah, it's not been swell. This could have been going better.
For duty. Apace! For order! We advance! Spearmen! Swiftly! For duty! March! And
It's these pink horrors that I think caused most of the trouble. Just raining down hell upon me. It's been hell.
moving out!
It's been hell.
Your master of power.
Chosen a poet.
Also, launching artillery into your own troops does have some potential consequences. So just stop firing.
Commander, drive them off.
Battle claws! Ancestors! Spearmen! Without fail!
Okay.
Swordmaster of Hoeth! Lacquer!
So that was a close victory compared to a decisive victory. Not very impressive on my part. We lost 114 of our units. Now, that's not that big of a deal because all of your units will replenish generally over time. So they will heal back to full given enough time. And also certain effects will replenish your army.
The fate of those.
So after each battle, you're given some options, depending on your faction and stuff like that, of what you want to do with the remnants. So we can execute all the captives. This will give us all a bunch of XP for our units. We can force them into labor, which will replenish our army's health by 19%. And we can ransom them, so we get a little bit of money, and we're going to get a buff for 5 turns to give us 1 influence every turn. Let's go ahead and replenish the army. We had a mission to defeat an army of Sartorial's Watchers in battle, which we just completed, so that gave us $500.
The acquisition of lands is the surest path.
And now we got a mission to capture and occupy the following settlement, Dawn's Light. So yeah, you're going to get missions all the time. How viable they are for you to actually go and do is iffy. You don't want to go out of your way and just force yourself to do every mission you find. 'Cause that's a good way to lose. So now we're going to go attack the settlement. A settlement will have a garrison of some degree, depending on how big it is and how fortified it is, blah, blah, blah. So,
The enemy and starving them out may be the wisest course of action.
yeah, I don't know why I have tutorials on. So this has a few blue horrors and a couple chaos furies. And so obviously this is an easy win for auto-resolve. If it's an unwalled settlement, you can encircle it. And this will basically mean that they will lose health every turn through attrition. And so after like 10 turns, 10 turns, the garrison will be non-existent. It'll be completely wiped out. But they'll lose health, they'll get weaker every turn if you want to encircle it. But I believe, I don't know if a garrison can take the fight to you. They might be able to. I don't remember. But I know if there's an army here, if there's an army garrison, they can just come out and fight you instead and initiate the battle that way. So encircling is not really guaranteed. If it's a walled settlement, instead you can besiege it. So you can build like siege equipment and slowly wear it down that way. But it works similarly. If there's an army there, they can bring the fight to you and initiate it that way. So we're just going to auto-resolve. So there you go, we only lost 66 of our units compared to 720 from the garrison. So yeah, we're going to rely on auto-resolve as much as we can.
Is yours to determine.
So after you win a battle at a settlement, you're going to get some options. Again, depending on your faction. These are the 4 common ones. You're going to just occupy it, so that takes it for yourself, becomes one of your settlements. Doing so will have a -10 control penalty for 1 turn. And then there's a province instability. So for 1 turn, deteriorating at 1 point per turn, there's a control penalty to the entire province. But this is pretty minor overall. If you loot the place first and then occupy it, you will get some money, depending on how wealthy the settlement is. You will replenish your army, but it's a -30 control penalty for a turn and a -10 for the province. So it's a lot worse if you actually plan on holding the settlement for yourself. You can just sack it. You will not gain control of it. It will stay with the other faction that has it, but you'll get a bunch of money. I mean, this is pretty small time, but if you sack a big settlement, you can get thousands and thousands of gold. And then it will apply a control penalty to the entire province. So sacking an enemy's settlement instead of taking it can really fuck up the whole province for him. And you don't really want to just take every settlement that you come across. You can also just raise it to the ground. So this will give you some money, and it will pretty much destroy the entire settlement. The enemy will lose control of it. Like, they will no longer have it. It will become a neutral, ruined settlement. It's a nice fuck you, but you don't get as much money out of it. We're, of course, just going to occupy it. So we completed that. We got $750. And the Horn of Vol.
See that much of this air.
I wonder if I can just turn off tutorials. Oh, probably somewhere. Advisor frequency, minimal. Yeah, I've played the game enough. So we got some items. And so yeah, much like an RPG, your lords can equip items. So he's got the Potion of Strength. In battle, he can use this as an ability. It's not very good for Techless because he's a wizard, but, you know. And then we have the Horn of Vol. Gives us an ability in battle. This affects all allies in range, 35 meters around us, and increases their base weapon damage or base missile damage. So that's pretty nice. We'll throw that on. And that's that. We also gained skills. So it's a skill tree for your lords. Legendary lords, of course, have the biggest skill trees. but all lords and heroes have them. So the blue line here on the bottom is sort of campaign stuff, like map stuff. Things like this increases our movement range on the map and increases or reduces recruitment cost, things like that. It's all like out of battle stuff. The other stuff is generally in battle. The red line buffs your units in your army, in the legendary lords, in the lord's army. That's good. And then you have various rows related to your lord. Like this will be all new magic spells, new abilities. A lot of times it'll be buffs to like their attack, their armor, their charge bonus, all sorts of things like that. So you want to take the blue line pretty good because that helps a lot. So we want to grab probably bonded service a little bit, maybe merchant lord. We want to be friends with everybody.
Defender of
Obermann also got a couple skill points, so we want to buff up his training, and we can buff up his spells, I guess. All right. So this is our main city, the Fortress of Dawn. And here we have access to all the different buildings, the settlement stuff. So every settlement is going to have like a rank that it's at. Our Fortress of Dawn here is at rank 2. Dawn's Light that we just took is at rank 1. It's a minor settlement. This is a elven colony. And so as you're going to get growth. There's a growth number. And every turn this growth is going to apply. And once it reaches a certain threshold, you're going to get a surplus. And you need that surplus in order to rank up settlements. I think this is based per province. So once we have 2 surplus, we can level this up to rank 3, and then we need 4 more to get it to rank 4, and then 5 more to get it to rank 5, which is obviously pretty high up there. And so leveling up the settlement is going to give you more income, it's going to give you more growth, it's going to add walls to the settlement, it's going to provide more units for the garrison, so making it just harder for enemies to take over. And it's also going to increase the construction slots. So you can add more buildings to it. So there's a bunch of different buildings, again, depending on the faction. We have here a militia camp. This is giving us access to rangers and archers. And we're allowed to now spend $2,000 to upgrade this to rank 2, which is going to give us Lothern Sea Guards, which are a missile and spear infantry, so they're a combined hybrid unit. So we're going to go ahead and do that. That will take 2 turns to build, but then we'll have access to those units within this province. Okay. Next up, we have research. Pretty much every faction has some form of research. The way that it's laid out and the way that you progress through the research trees is pretty much always different. Yeah, I mean, there's just so many different ways that they've laid it out and how it works. So for High Elves here, we have access right now to Military Advancements 1. This will take 1 turn to research and will reduce recruitment costs by 4%. Not a very big research. But then we get access to this whole section, which allows us to research buffs for various types of units. So like spearmen or sea guard units, cavalry, archers, depending on what we want to buff. If instead we wanted to grab trade advancements, we would need to first build the Elven Embassy building in any settlement that we control. And then we'd have access to... Actually, I don't think trade advancements unlocks this stuff. But yeah, all of these require various different buildings. Cattle ranches, eastern bazaars, salt distilleries. So depending... there's a lot of different trade goods in the game. They're not complicated. If you have a building that produces a trade good, it increases your trade value for when you make trade contracts with other factions. Then we can also get cultural advancements if we build the Elven Court, and that will unlock this section of the cultural advancements. And once we build some other stuff, we can get further military advancements. And of course, it all costs a little money as well, but mostly it's just time. Most research is not very quick. All right, let's pick that. All right, other things to look at. So there's the Sword of Cain. This is an artifact that all the elven factions are going to vie for control of, because it provides big buffs to your faction if you get it. So you have to have you have to get the Shrine of Cain, and then you have to construct the Shrine of the Widowmaker building to unlock it. And that'll give us, if we ever get a hold of it, I doubt it. There's rights. Most factions have access to some sort of rights, like one-time or short duration buffs to their armies, faction, whatever, that they can spend money on, or some other currency. So right now we have no rights unlocked. We get our first one after owning 3 settlements, the Invocation of Isha. So this will last for 10 turns, cost us 2,000 bucks, and this will make us immune to all attrition. This will increase our casualty replenishment rate and reduce corruption in all provinces that we are in. For 10 turns. It's pretty, it's not bad. We also have Intrigue at the Court. So we don't have any influence right now, so we can't do anything with the court. But if we did, we could spend that influence to improve or decrease relations with whatever factions we want. So we could, if we wanted to be on better terms with the Last Defender faction, wherever the hell they are. They must be somewhere around here. Right now we have a 30 relation with them. They tolerate us. We could spend some influence to improve that and just make them like us more. If for some reason we wanted to piss off an enemy more, we could decrease relations, and they might eventually just go to war with us. Or if we wanted to be more interesting, we could say, look at the Last Defenders and the Bubonic Swarm and start decreasing their relations with one another. So they start to hate each other, and they might go to war with one another. So it's a very fun mechanic. We'll get to it. There's also the diplomacy screen. So this is where you can interact with all the other factions that you're aware of. Obviously, there's hundreds more in the game currently, but these are the ones we know of. So we're on pretty good terms with Zlatlan, the Lizard Men. And it's on the rise because they approve of our war against Sarthoriel's Watchers and our military actions against them. So if we go into the diplomacy screen, you can see all the various options available to you. Making a non-aggression pact, making a trade agreement, providing military access for one another, a defensive alliance, so that if one goes to war, the other is obliged to go to war with them as well, and a military alliance. This allows for a lot more coordination with wars, outpost constructions, You can temporarily request armies from one another for assistance, all sorts. It's a very strong agreement. You can also offer money for various things, demand money for various things. You can offer to join them in a war against somebody that they're at war with. You can demand that they join you in a war against someone you're going to war with. Plenty of options. You can also trade settlements for, favors or money, blah blah blah. But the most common stuff here is the sort of various agreements that you can make, and these negative numbers indicate sort of how likely or unlikely they are to be agreeable to that. It's not really a likely, it's very quantitative. So, if I want to make a trade agreement with them, they are, at the moment, not willing to make this agreement, and you can see the breakdown of why. They have a baseline evaluation of it of -6, and due to me being like twice as strong as a faction as them, they are more likely to make an agreement so as to not piss me off. The economic value of this is apparently weighted very low, because it's kind of a tiny little agreement at the moment. And distance is a factor, I guess. But it's pretty close, and you can just click this balance offer button to throw in some money to sweeten the deal. So if I throw in $32 on top of this agreement, they'll say okay, and we can make this trade agreement. Now, the thing is, though, being friends with everyone is a little tricky. Due to territory, every faction is looking to expand their territory. So you can't really be allies with everyone. And also, me allying with the lizard men is going to piss off some other faction that hates lizard men. And they will think less of me for being nice to lizard men. Stuff like that. Right now, this trade agreement isn't really worth it. I just wanted to demonstrate it. But, yeah, we gotta be a little particular. Obviously, we have some clear enemies, so we'll worry about that. We got Kairos Fate Weaver himself sitting over here. Yeah. Alright. Let's end our turn. Finally. Alright, so as you can see here, there's 283 factions in the game currently. By default, it's just going to show you the actions turn by turn of every army and stuff that you see on the map. We can, however, click fast forward, and that will just just quickly skip through anybody doing an action that's visible to you. So you won't exactly see, bit by bit what they're doing. You'll just see like the jump and where they end up, but it just makes it go faster. All right. Escape and yada yada yada. We've researched attack. Okay, so this province. You want to control provinces because then you get to instigate a commandment, which is a buff to the entire province. So generally, if you control a settlement, you want to control the other settlements in the province. So for this province, Dawn's Landing, it's Fortress of Dawn, Dawn's Light, and Tor Serpendar. So we do want to gain control of this settlement so that we control the whole province. If we don't control anything beyond that, that's okay. We just want to make sure we get these 3. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that we rush out and go straight for Tor Serpendar, because we have Kairos Fate Weaver at our back door. I don't know. We're not actually at war with them. So we could, you know, we're not going to like try and become friends with them or anything like that, but he will announce when he's going to war. That might be the exact same turn that he comes to attack me, of course, but we're not at war just yet. Whereas Sartorial's Watchers we are at war with, so it is a concern. We could probably just march straight over there right now and probably win. And the longer we wait, the more that he's going to grow this army. Sarl Warp Flame. Because he is mustering, so he is recruiting units currently. Right now he has none. He just has his lord. And then there's whatever is in the garrison, which is these 6 units. So chances are we can win that same battle. And I think it's probably the best course of action. Sometimes it's not, but since he has no units in his army, let's go ahead and do it. Okay, there you go. So that's a decisive victory against the entire enemy group, and we will not lose any of our units in the battle, so they can all heal up and be fine, and we're also just going to occupy it. Okay. So we completed another mission. Got some armor. We killed Sarl Warp Flame. We control the whole province, and we wiped out Sartorial's Watchers. So they are no longer in the game. Okay. That was good. Now, you'll notice that there's all this purple ground here. That is Tzeentch corruption. All the Chaos factions and the Skaven throw out corruption. Maybe there's some other factions that do as well. But yeah, it's corruption. You don't want any sort of corruption on your land unless you're one of those factions. And you can see that, what's that gonna... It's gonna reduce control in your settlements. So, right now this is a -8 control because, for one, we have provincial instability due to taking a bunch of settlements over. We also have -4 from collecting income. You can turn off income collection on each settlement if you want to help with control. And then -3 for Tzeentch corruption. So at the current rate, of which, of course, that rate will change every turn, but at the current rate, there will be a rebellion here in 12 turns. That's a long time. We don't have to worry. It's not really that unstable, but you can see how it could become unstable. All right, so we gained some more skill points. Let's go ahead and grab Iron Discipline to help with control a little bit.
Master of the White Tower.
Obermann, he could, you know, step out just to help with spreading control if we really were concerned with that. But we're going to grab Speed of Assyrian. Tor Serpendar has an empty building slot. So here you can see some of the options. Basic military. So this is based on settlement rank. So, you know, this is a rank 1 settlement, so we can't build anything above tier 1. Like these higher things. And of course, these are upgrade paths. As you grow in rank, buildings get better and better. Advanced military, we can't build anything until rank 3. Defense, we can't build anything until rank 2. And infrastructure. So here we have homesteads. This will increase growth here, as well as help with the casualty replenishment rate. Elven Craftsman, this will generate $100 for us every turn. And we'll make Elven Trinkets, which we can then trade away for trade agreements. When control is at 100, this will generate an additional 50 income. So that's pretty good for money making. And then Plaza, 60 income every turn, plus 2 control. And when control is 100, we generate 30 more income. I think the best bet right now is Elven Craftsman, so let's go with that. We also have a commandment for the province. So this is, again, a provincial-wide buff to something. So Reaver Patrols is a more defensive thing. You're going to spot enemy ambushes. You're going to reduce their movement range in the region. You're going to be more successful at ambushing, things like that. Tribute to the Phoenix King, plus 4% income from trade tariffs, plus 3% income from all buildings. Rebuild Lost Splendor helps with growth, lowers construction costs. Rally Citizen Militia increases recruit rank and local recruitment capacity. And Banish Corruption reduces all the corruption in the province. There's a few good options here. I'm going to go with Rally Citizen Militia just because I'm about to recruit a bunch to fill out our big army. For research, we're looking at military advancements. I'm thinking maybe we go with Spear Wall. Oh, Spear Wall. All right, so recruiting.
Who seeks me?
Going on here to recruit units. Recruitment depends on where you are on the map and what sort of stance your army is in, some other factors. But right now, we can recruit 2 units per turn. Yeah. And we can recruit 4 different types of units if we want. They each have an immediate cost, 400, 500 or so, and then they have an an upkeep cost every turn that you're gonna have to spend. So right now our income is 1,700, which is fairly solid, but that's gonna plummet as we fill out this army. So that's local recruiting from the local province you're in. So if you build a building in this province that lets you create dragons, if you want to locally recruit dragons, you have to be in this province. There's also global recruitment. This could be pretty much anywhere. This excludes certain elite units. This can be pretty much anywhere outside of your provinces and settlements. But a lot of times you're going to have to be in the mustering or the encampment stance, which really slows your movement. It's a more defensive stance, but it allows you to recruit from the global recruitment pool if you're away from home and need to fill out some units. Problem is, it's far more expensive. Initially, the initial cost is a lot more expensive, and it takes longer. Income, the upkeep is the same, but yeah, it's not a preferred option if you can avoid it. All right, so we want to get some hammer and anvil stuff going. So the spearmen is where we're looking. They're not amazing, but they are shielded. They have charged defense against large foes. They've got pretty decent melee defense and high leadership. So, and they're shielded, which is pretty good. So let's grab a couple of spearmen. And that is going to be that. Now, we did access a couple of rights. The one that I mentioned, Isha and Assyrian. $2,000 for 5 turns. Gives us 2 influence per turn. Minus 15% construction cost for all buildings. And plus 4 control in all provinces. Let's go ahead and do that right now, because we are hurting a little bit for control here. Not that it's that big of a deal. Alright, that's the turn. So it's a bit of a balancing act. You want to get enough settlements that you can actually maintain and defend and control so that you can build them up to get good buildings, to get more income. You need enough settlements to give you enough income so that you can support preferably like multiple armies filled out with 20 units, which is the max. But you don't want to overextend so that you can't defend all your shit and you start losing it and it snowballs. Okay. So
Knowledge is yours.
now we can recruit 3 units per turn. And we've gained access to the Lothern Sea Guard, which are missile and spear infantry. So comparatively, they do cost a bit more than spearmen. They're not shielded. And we can see shielded will block 55% of all small arm missile fire hitting it from the front, which is really pretty solid. So that's what we'd be giving up for the Lothern Sea Guards. What we'd be gaining, though, a bit more speed, a bit more melee attack, a bit more weapon strength, but we'd be losing melee defense, 6 of it, and health. And numbers. Yeah, I mean, that's part of it, but going from 120 to 90. Now, we'd also get... no, I mean, they're pretty similar. Well, the main thing that we gain from the Sea Guard is the missiles. They have a ranged attack. So they have 22 ammunition, 165 range, which is pretty phenomenal for a primarily melee unit, and a missile strength of 18, which is on par with all of our archers. So with these, you could just pepper... If you have 20 Lothern Sea Guards, you know, you just have a big stretch, and they're all just launching missiles while the enemy is coming in. It's pretty solid. That is pretty solid. Yeah, all right. You've convinced me. So in that case, we don't really need many archers because all our units are archers. So yeah, I mean, unmodded on a good computer, turns don't really take that long to skip by. As you can see, I mean, that was what, 10 seconds or something. And that timer is generally gonna, well, it's gonna go down because more factions are gonna get destroyed. But then as you explore more of the map, usually it lags a little bit and takes kind of longer. Hey, it's hard to say. Alright, we're still not at war. I don't know where Cairo's Fate Weaver went off to. But currently we're not at war with anyone, which is pretty good. Because we just want to keep recruiting and fill out our numbers. So let's go for more Lothern Sea Guards. Again, not the cheapest unit we could pump out. 163 upkeep each. Means that our income is going to start to suffer. We're going to want to make some trade deals if possible. So Zlatlan is certainly willing to make a nice trade agreement now, because ours rocketed up in value thanks to our elven trinkets. So it's not really that profitable to us. It's more beneficial to them. They will pay us for the privilege, but yeah. We can also make a non-aggression pact with them if we want. They'll pay us $1. It's like a token payment. Sure. Now the last offenders are not as eager. I'd have to pay them quite a bit to make this agreement. And that's just because they're a lot stronger than me, so they're not really that interested in, like, supporting me in any way. But, yeah, there you have it. Okay. So our biggest concern, of course, is probably the Skaven. Here we have Caverns of Sotek. Looks like a neutral ruined minor settlement that can be colonized, except it is colonized by Skaven. You can see Skaven corruption going up. That's a good hint. So I don't think we're at war with them, but we very well could be pretty soon. All right, so we have enough surplus growth to upgrade a settlement. We could upgrade either of the 2 miners, or we could wait and upgrade the Fortress of Dawn. But I'm worried about Kairos Fate Weaver coming for Dawn's Light, so let's upgrade that a little bit. Yeah.
Lawmaster.
Maybe we don't recruit anymore, just in case our income fluctuates a bit. But that's solid enough. Although, I don't know. I don't really like the chariots, but for auto resolve, I don't really care if I don't like it, as long as it's good. We have to be a little careful at this stage, because we're surrounded by several enemies. We have Nurgle right here. We've got Tzeentch right here. We've got Skaven over here. Any one of them could come and attack me at any moment. And I only have 1 lord, so I can't defend multiple locations at once. And it's just it's just a guessing game
Starting my journey.
of where I think someone will come.
Lying in wait. It's sweltering. My steps are guided.
We're not very good at ambushing, that's for sure.
By the gods, it's hot.
So right now we're in ambush stance. We can't move as far, but we are hidden. So no other faction, as far as every other faction is concerned, our army is not here. It doesn't exist. They don't know where our army is, but as far as their programming is concerned, they will treat this as if my army is not here. Meaning that they might see just an undefended settlement and come for it. And then we ambush them, and we win the battle because they were unaware. Now we have a 40% chance of them not seeing us, which is pretty low. Chances are any faction will see us, especially because plenty of factions get bonuses to discovering ambushes, which reduces that number even further. So our faction is not really an ambush kind of faction. I prefer factions that are good at ambushing because I think it's a really powerful tactic. Especially when you have like 2 armies working in tandem. Like you have one weak army that's like bait for an ambushing army and all that. But yeah, you know, you make do with what you got. One thing that we can do, if we really wanted to bait out some form of an attack. Okay, we got spear wall, that's good.
Fools, anvil, it's hot.
We could go into enemy territory and raid. Assuming I can raid. And that will lower enemy control, and that will give us income, and it will piss them off. So it's not a bad strat.
Wisdom leads me.
But it is somewhat risky. Like I said, we're gonna swing in one direction here, and that could easily get us quite fucked. All right, let's upgrade Tor Serpendar as well. Get another research. Yeah, let's go for reload time reduction for Lothar and Seaguard units. That sounds pretty good. To end our turn. So I'm definitely not promising that we get a victory of any kind or even go the distance. It's pretty easy to get fucked, especially when you're not incredibly good or knowledgeable.
By the gods, it's hot. If you say so, I'm going.
But we'll see what we can do. All right, so we're in here. I cannot raid. Apparently, I'm not a raiding faction. I guess that makes sense for the High Elves. So, I guess we could just, like, go attack them. It's not usually, like, my preferable MO. But we could just attack them. Alright, here we have 80% ambush chance. That's pretty good. I don't think they'll make a move, but you never know. So I'm not at war with them. If I declared war against them, maybe they would move. They actually spotted my ambush.
Master of the White Tower.
Alright, let's just see. Player war.
No, not.
Alright, so it's a decisive victory. It's just a garrison, so there's nothing nothing too threatening there. We can just auto-resolve that. Now, do I actually want to occupy the settlement? Probably.
Claim this place for Ulthuan.
Alright, so now if we wanted this whole province, we'd have to continue on and take Temple Avenue of Gold and Sotek's Trail, which is stretching us pretty thin. We'll want to be a little cautious, because this is exactly when they might take that opportunity to move in.
There is no limit to my power. Teclis, High Lawmaster.
We got another building here. This leads to the Silver Helms. Armored anti-infantry shock cavalry. That's what we want. So let's go ahead and get that going. Let's see what happens. So we're down to 237 factions now. $236. Alright, so we've got Pustich here. He's a hero for the Skaven, so he can't attack me or anything like that. But he could maybe hinder some stuff. I mean, I don't know what he's got. He's got assault garrison and assault units. So he could hurt my garrison. He could hurt me a little bit, but there's not much I can do unless I step out with the Obermann and wound him. I guess I could do. 34% chance. Success! So I wounded him, and he fucked off. And that's that. So wounding a hero, they will come back after a while. They'll heal, and he can get them back. There is some heroes that can assassinate instead, and that is not as pleasant. Okay.
Knowledge is yours.
What do you seek?
Yeah, I guess we're waiting. You know, it's turtling is really the best way to success early on. You don't want to spread too far at all. You really just want to build up your settlements that you have, build up your military buildings, build up your income until you have like a really solid army.
Yes? They are under my protection.
Okay. So that did get a new right, the Invocation of Vol. A dilemma will offer a powerful magical item. We'll also get recruitment cost reduction, recruit ranks. Yeah, it's not really viable for me now. The bubonic plague faction got wiped out, which means that the oracles of Tzeentch are expanding even further. If I knew of a faction that was like that could threaten them somewhat, be a good time to instigate some stuff. But really, like I'm the one that's meant to take them out. Let's sit
Moving on. Laying
in ambush stance. He might start to sense something because he's gonna want Caverns of Sotek back. This is part of his province. He lost it. He was gonna want it back. So if I can maybe trick him, we might be able to do some shit. Here we can upgrade that for more trinkets. We can also build another building. So we could get Watchtower, adds walls and stuff, provides more garrison. City tunnels prevents plagues from spreading, increases control, reduces corruption. Might find some undercities or trickster cults in your settlements. Or we could go for more money. Get Elven Gardens. We'd get nobles as a potential hero recruitment. Maybe a homestead just for more growth. We really want to rank up all these settlements. I just have a feeling the oracles of Tzeentch are going to be moving. I don't know what's further to the right there, to the east, for them. But they might continue on that way rather than fucking with me. Alright, so far, Skaven are just, like, nowhere. I could keep moving, but like I said, this is going to fuck me. At some point, the Oracles of Tzeentch will attack. I wish I could see his army.
High Lawmaster. The gods guide me.
Alright. Yeah. But that's why, you know, I wanted to be on good relations with the lizard men there. So I don't have to worry about yet another threat that could just come in on my, you know, over my borders. More friends you have, the better. Alright, so we have a dilemma here. Signed, sealed, delivered. Keeper of the Seal has been abusing his position. So we could expose him publicly, get 30 influence, but we get a debuff faction-wide of control for 5 turns. Replace him, get a smaller influence bonus, but costs money. Demand their sealed and royal presence, 10 influence, but a debuff reducing movement range. Or lose 7 influence, but get happy populace for 5 turns. Let's go ahead and just spend the money.
You require assistance? Hoeth grants you wisdom. Preparing an ambush. Starting my journey.
Slowly creep up on this guy just to see if a Skaven army pops up somewhere. It seems really empty. Alright, we can upgrade this for more growth. Good. Yeah, I mean, I could spend influence to do some manipulation, but I don't know what I would even do. Down to 216 factions. 215. 14. Dropping like flies. Alright. So our ambush was foiled. That means they did spot me next to their settlement. But it doesn't seem like they cared about it. So let's go in. Ah, so his army was sitting there. And it's a full army with a full garrison. So this is not a good option for us.
There is no limit.
So we're going to break that siege.
I know the way.
And sit over here. So now he knows that I know that he's there. I don't know if that's going to spur him to make any sort of movement. But at least now I know where he is. Alright, let's upgrade the Fortress of Dawn. Get that beefed up a little bit. Although I probably should have gone Dawn's Light so we could get the Silver Helms online. $211, 210 fact. Oh my god, it's a genocide out there. 208. Yeah, so I mean, for me, this game, Immortal Empires and all this is like the best board game experience that there ever could be. Like, no actual physical board game, I feel, could top this. Alright, he's turtling hard. Doesn't really behoove me to just sit next to it. His army needs to go before anything else can happen. And I'm better off waiting for him to come to my place and me ambushing him there than just a one-on-one fight that he does outnumber me in. Alright. But yeah, you know, it's like, you know, I have a semi-weekly board game night. But it's like, nothing we could play there would really compare to 5 of us sitting down with Total War, Mortal Empires, and all playing together. There's just so much more to this game than could ever be possible on a table. I don't know what his game plan is, really. I don't know what he's building towards, working towards. It doesn't really hurt me to just sit here and wait, though. I don't think. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to sit here and wait. I mean, maybe I could drive Oracles of Tzeentch against the Skaven here. Plan Morbidus. Right now, they have no diplomatic contact whatsoever. But they're kind of like, I don't know. It would cost a lot. It would cost a lot of influence to wear it down. Doesn't seem likely. You want to sort of push things over the edge, not like build a hatred from the ground up. Yeah, he's staying put. I don't know what to say. Life in the lagoon. Chance to gain more influence. Lose a little control, maybe. Pretty much the same options. Yeah, let's go for 20 influence and a little control hit. Things are pretty peaceful right now. Up this. So the Leaf Cutters tribe apparently wiped out the other Lizardmen faction there? Or just about. So the Greenskins. They are not friendly with me. They do not like elves, as you can imagine. No, last defenders are still there. They're still hanging on. They're actually strength rank 22. So I don't know how much land they control, but their army must be beef. No, I guess they got this settlement all the way over here. Okay, they're not doing too bad. I wonder if I could push them against the Skaven at all. Not them. Last Defenders, Morbidus. They hate each other quite a bit. And strong aversion. Let me just see. Hmm. No, I wanna do that. I don't know how well it'll work. I don't know how much we can push towards. Ooh. More overt attack. Strike with Shadow Warriors. Kill the allies of Last Defenders. They watch and then give Clan Morbidus a friendly wave before disappearing back into the night. Oh. Well, okay. Minus 40 between Last Defenders and Morbidus. Well, that's good. Yeah, if we can get those two at war, that would be handy.
My infinite knowledge is yours.
Yeah, we're waiting there, and that's it. We could spend 1,500 bucks for 25 influence, which is certainly a healthy chunk. Let's go for the cheaper option, even though it's not as bang for your buck. How are they looking now? Minus 125. Okay, it's deteriorating quite a bit. All right. All right. Just be patient. I know this isn't the most exciting, but it's working. Although control is really slipping. I think I need a military presence here. Oh, this is slipping as well. Oh, actually, hold on.
You
We want
must
the province here to be, or the commandment to be, I don't know, there's no corruption. I guess that doesn't really help much other than just increasing growth. But yeah, let's increase growth.
Ready.
But I should probably send my hero back to the other province to improve control. This rat man is never gonna move. Yeah.
Master of the White Tower.
My quest
Send him
continues.
back. Spread control. Not much control, mind you, but some. Yeah. Author and Sea Guards with shields. Hoo hoo hoo. Even better. That is pretty damn nice. I don't have infinite money, though. So this will let us make 21 sacks of spices. Ooh, boy, we'll really be rolling in it. We're gonna get the Elven Embassy, get trade advancements, bunch of more income. Hell yeah, get that. But you can see, like, it's not really like a real-time strategy game. Like, battles, even if I was doing a lot of battles, like initiating a lot of fights or whatever, like auto resolve covers most of it. Because most of the time, if you're gonna go into a battle, it's because you know you're gonna win. So most of the game is just like kind of I don't know what you call it. It's not 4X really. It's turn-based strategy sort of. Um yeah, I don't know if he's ever gonna move. And the only way I'm ever gonna take it pretty much is if I recruit a second lord as like a really easy bait. Um at what point does war occur? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, they're talking about like people are complaining war gets declared too easily. Um, okay. But there's no like guide, I guess, as to what the relation number means. Yeah, I don't know. Whatever. Well, I mean, I guess fuck it, we may as well just do it again. I got plenty of another minus 30 there. And we're still on quite decent terms with the lizard men there. So I don't think we're going to win any awards here for our strength rank of like our empire and our armies, but we don't have to. Imminent rebellion in the jungles of the gods. That's not one of my settlements. What is the jungles of the gods? This is not even a place. Oh, this is the province here. Oh, so this is about to rebel. Yeah. No, I mean the Skaven corruption that we never rooted out. And it's got negative growth because the Skaven corruption is so bad. And this -5 from events. Because that unhappy populace just went on forever. That really was pretty bad. I shouldn't have done that. Well, then I think we have to go back in here. The military presence will, that's a plus 16. So we'll prevent a rebellion there, but... I mean, obviously, he was not going to come in. He didn't come in at any point during that whole thing. So I guess whatever. Just prevent a rebellion for now. Alright, let's bump up Dawn's Light. And that's that. It's not a fast-paced game. But that's good. I like that. I like slow-paced games. Plenty of time to think things through. Spend 10 for an advisor to the king. Ooh, income from all buildings plus 12% for local province. Pretty good. Well, it's pretty good. Let's grab that. Maybe Obermann puts on that ancillary. There you go. Nope, can only be equipped on a lord. Shit. Can't really afford another lord. I mean, I could afford the lord himself, I suppose. Just not any units. All right, so for them you have to spend influence if you want like a good lord. Like we could get Yulin Wen, but they come with debuffs. Whereas if you want buffs, you got to pay that influence cost. which we will. Sure.
Lady of the Phoenix Court, can I offer assistance?
So then we can go to her. We can equip some fun stuff. Just like that. There you go. And now she'll just sit there and buff control and buff the income we get and so on and so forth, even if she's not going to have any units. She serves her purpose. Down to minus 158. They're hostile now. Still not at war, I don't think. You'd assume eventually they'd go to war. That war happens in Total War, surprisingly. I don't know. We're gonna bring this video to a close soon. I just wanted something exciting to happen at the end here. Illyrian Horsemaster. It's not bad. Or you get +5 control faction-wide for 5 turns. Fuck yeah. Oh, the Leafcutters tribe got wiped out. Well, that didn't take long. And now it's been replaced by Tlaqua. More lizard men. Eventually the lizard men will likely all confederate. And they'll join together as one faction. So we got Asurian again if we wanted for 2,000 bucks. Increases our control. Wouldn't be the worst idea, I guess. I mean, these are all ticking back up, but we're deep in the red for control. So fuck it. Even though I don't have much money. Yeah, just a lot of turn skips now. Going into turn 23 here. And still Tzeentch has not caused trouble. Skaven have not caused trouble. It's been a very peaceful game here, hasn't it? We've done like 3 battles total. And no one's really fucking with Tzeentch. I wonder how powerful his faction is. 31. We're at 86. So we're really middle of the road. Neither of them want to make a trade agreement with me, surprisingly. Yeah, shut up. Alright, not a whole lot else to say there. Keep going, keep going. Down to 159. Nearly lost like half the factions since the start. Now, where did that Skaven go? Questionable.
Hoeth's chosen. Teclis, High Lawmaster.
Yeah, we're finally getting positive growth. Christ, it's slow. This was not a great one to take over. Trade advancements finally. Let's grab that. And I assume this is still in the tubes. And now it's improving. We'll tank it some more. Minus 30. Go to war. Imagine they're still not at war. I mean, what's the cap? You know? And if they hit the cap, how are they not at war? They just refuse? They just like, no, we really fucking hate them, but we'll never go to war with them. That would be crazy. Well, I dare say we need more income. So maybe we go for the plaza here. I don't know, maybe nothing exciting is ever gonna happen here until suddenly we just get bombarded by like the biggest army in the planet and then we lose and that's that's it. I don't know. It's kind of hard to surprise too many, to have too many surprises though. I don't think anyone's gonna make a beeline for us.
You seek illumination?
Finally gonna hit positive control numbers again. That's great. Yeah. Positive control across the board. That'll be great. I actually, this is pretty uncommon for me. I don't usually pass this many turns. But I also lose a lot. So maybe this is the way to just lose later.
You seek knowledge.
Yeah, not much is happening. Everyone's just turtling a little bit. Okay, we do not want unhappy populace. Let's go for that. Let's take another look at this. It's improving again. I just cannot get them to fucking hate each other. How much does it... How much? How much does it take? I could try Talaqua. Oh, they are at war with Talaqua. Oh, that's good. That's probably where he went. Okay, okay. If that's where he went.
Wisdom awaits.
Then maybe we move in finally.
Moving on.
Not even be coy about it and just go. Assuming that's where he is. mean, if for some reason he left his back door exposed, I'll take that ass. Take that ass good.
Ready. My steps are guided.
Alright, if he is there, we're fucked, by the way. He is there, and we are fucked. Just because... Okay, no, we're okay.
Insult.
So he's at war with 2 factions, and he's just turtling. I mean, I guess it's sort of smart, but how is no one taking Sotek's trail? Maybe I just have to wait for Talakwa to take that. Alright, let's grab that. We can start getting silver helms, though. That'll be nice. I don't know. I got stuff to do, so I'm going to have to end this video. But I was hoping to gain something. Do some sort of battle. Accomplish something. But he's definitely not going to budge. Now, the question is, if he didn't budge then, when I was ambushed here, will he budge if I go and take Sotek's trail? I feel like it'd be insane if he didn't, but there might be a similar massive... there probably is, actually. Skaven get a lot of money.
High Lawmaster of Hoeth.
I don't know why, but Skaven are a wealthy faction. So he probably does have 2 full armies. Even though his strength rank is 104, so he is lower than me. I mean, I could... No, I don't. Fuck. It's just fucked, man. Maybe I say fuck it and go for Tzeentch instead, and if he wants to take Caverns of Sotek back, so be it.
Those that serve your cause gain experience.
My infinite knowledge is yours.
I just keep assuming Talakwa is going to take Sotek's trail at some point. But again, if he does have a full army sitting there, that is quite tricky. And I'd like to have a second army, but my income is similarly shit. And I can't seem to make an agreement. These lizard men, they're powerful as fuck, though. Zlatlan is the weakest of the lizard men. He's kind of my buddy. You know what I could maybe do? I could sell Caverns of Sotek to, like, to Zlatlan or something like that. And help out them. There's going to be wars between the lizard men, unless they all confederate. But if they're all similarly strength, it's a lot harder to do that. So... we could go here. We go to Zlatlan. We say trade settlement. They won't take... oh, probably because they're not adjacent to it? They're not adjacent to the province or something like that? They can't skip over? So I probably can't sell... Stop it. Yeah, I can't sell that settlement to probably anybody except Clan Morbidus. And I can't, I'd have to make a peace treaty before I could sell them.
Tell me where it is.
So I could make the peace treaty, give them back Caverns of Sotek, and they'd pay me 1,900 bucks if I wanted to do such a thing. But by making a peace treaty with them, I'd probably piss off the lizard men a little bit. But it would kind of solve this indecision, and I could just go for Tzeentch. For now, I say fuck it, because I think Talak was going to wipe him out anyways. So, fuck it. We still really hate each other, but I think we should improve relations. Just get them to not hate us for the moment.
Consider it done.
Asso Princess.
Yeah, all right. I mean, I guess it's a questionable step. Especially because I'm not actually at war with Tzeentch. So I've ceded ground for no real reason, but
There is no limit to my power. They may have who seeks me?
we've basically gone back to where we were. It's just I'm not at war with them. So yeah, we've gone back to where we were.
Fools and villains.
What did I really gain from all that? I don't know. Not much. It was basically like I originally would have sacked Caverns of Sotek instead of occupying it. Alright, yeah, I'm going to end the video here. So, no big climactic finish here, but there's always next time. This is not the most productive 32 turns that I've ever had. But I think next time we're going to have to go to war with Tzeentch, start ravaging them. Also, my game just crashed, so that's great. Nice timing. Yeah. But for now, my name is Mangg. Gaming watching has been Total War, Warhammer 3, Immortal Empires. I'll see you fine folks in the next part.